All right, friends. Oops. Mrs. L joins us tonight, and we have something to say to you, which is critical. By the way, you're always, of course, you're part of this thing of ours that we do. And what in particular do we want to discuss tonight? By the way, tonight's topic is hold your nose and vote for Trump for America. This is my theme because there's no other choice. Nikki Haley, Joe Biden, I'm sorry, it's Trump. And that's it. Not exactly a full-throated endorsement. But dear heart, what is it that we want people to know? And why is this important so much tonight?
Well, first, I like that title, Hold Your Nose and Vote for Trump. Well, I've been sounding the alarm for the past 12 hours, I think, about something called the Journal app that just started appearing. If you have an iPhone, there's been an update that you may have received a notice yesterday or perhaps this morning. I received one this morning, an iOS, which is the iPhone operating system. And I say that because somebody asked me what iOS means. So I want to clarify that. And this 17.2 update. And it doesn't explain exactly what the update will be, but all of a sudden this Journal app will appear on your phone. So I suggest if you have an iPhone right now, you look and you will just find it there. You didn't sign up for it. It will just be there. The reason we are sounding the alarm is because yet again, this is another app directed. I don't care what you read, the press, because I just did a scan of all of it. I've been giving interviews all day, raising awareness, sounding the alarm, directed towards our children. And it is described as you can journal, you can share pictures, you can share photos, you can share videos, and you can encrypt them. Anytime you have children, something directed, that is the audience. Despite what you read, I want to remind you of that again. And a child can lock out a parent, lock out a guardian. Okay. That is something that equates with danger. So again, this is kind of that slippery. We're not talking about adults here in privacy. We're talking about minors. Minors. Those are the eyeballs. Those are the ones that make big app, the money. And kids can unlock it with, facial recognition or touch ID. But the fact is that the predators are always where the kids are. So if you have an iPhone, just to break this down, that you have bought for your child or your teen, I suggest you look for that app. You talk to your child age appropriately. You may want to delete the app if the child is younger. Remember, we can't tell you when to buy your child an iPhone or any phone. Look at this, but, talk to your child about all of this, because every interview I did today, and I did several, everybody I talked to in tech, lawyers, people in the biz, as we say, nobody knows anything about this Journal
How
app.
did you hear about this?
I heard about it because I looked on my phone today and I was going through and I went to look at all my apps and I saw Journal. And I thought
it's at the very end.
It was at the very end. Like it was
Right.
a new app. I downloaded. So I thought Journal.
I didn't download it. I had it too. It's just there.
And so
put it this way, you don't have to use it, but it just showed up. Normally an app you have to take some affirmative action in downloading it. This wasn't. But how did you know there was something?
Because then I saw Journal and I said, what is this Journal? Now, this all happened since this morning. So then I looked it up. Now, apparently last month it was announced by Apple, you can download this new app for free, Journal. But they just went ahead. The point of this is they just went ahead today with this new update of just giving it to everybody, just forcing it on you. Whereas you pointed out, normally you pick what apps you want, put them on your phone. They just gave it. And that is where the danger is, because if you're not aware of it and your child has it on their phone, well, they're certainly going to start using it. Now, it seems very innocent when you read all the press releases, which I went back and looked at. Again, nobody really knew about this, but in other words, they're just forcing it on you. That's the danger. You weren't given a choice to choose it. And you've got to talk to the kids about this, because remember, wherever the kids are, so are the predators. So we have to understand Do you understand this was just forced on us? They just put it on everybody's phones. So parents and guardians had no say in anything. Now kids are very savvy. I always like to say 30 and under, they've grown, it's not their fault. They've grown up in this digital bubble, and that's fine. But they don't understand that. And that's the part I really don't understand myself.
Let me try
they don't
this.
understand like digital
Right.
safety. That's what we have to work on educating everybody about.
Let me try this for the smart asses who say, oh, so it's another application. No, numbnuts. The point is, this is for kids, not for adults. We as adults don't care about this. We don't, I don't care. I'm an adult. It's for parents who have kids. Let me see if I can explain this again, because there's always the smart ass. There's always somebody who says, well, what's the big deal? Let me try this again in English. It's not for adults that we're talking about. It's for a parent who's too busy going to work, who hands his phone to a kid and has no idea that this now provides this new encrypted way that this child can be the subject of predation. That's what it's about. Do I make myself clear? Any clarification? Maybe we need to explain this again. This is about kids. Let me say this again for the idiots who don't understand this. It's about kids, not adults. We don't care about us. It's what's happening. This is if your child, the idea of the predator, the guy in the white van, and yeah, they're still there, but it's the phone. Any questions? Okay.
I mean, understand that, because somebody did ask me today during the interview, well, how are they communicating? Because the adult will act as another child. And because we have so many vulnerable kids, they think they're communicating with another child. And it turns out to be an adult. And then your child, as an example, a child, is locking this down. So there's secret recordings. Now, videos, phone, I want to report on something very urgent. So sit down, everybody. The Internet Watch Foundation, which is out of the UK, and that would be the equivalent here to the National Center on Missing and Exploited Children in Alexandria, Virginia, just put out a report. 90%, over 90% of CSAM, child sexual abuse material, is self-generated. And that means the children themselves, and this is 10 and under, the children themselves are creating this content. Now, where are they learning how to create this content? Children as young as 3 years old are creating content. They're learning things online. Their parents or guardians are not watching them. They are being directed by the predators online. Do this, do that. Do this to your sibling. Do this to your friend. That is why the Warriors, our mission is to educate you, help you understand what is going on, because we know it's overwhelming. So we're here to share information about children. It's about children and safety.
Now, when somebody says, and I just don't have time for this, why are you letting your kids have a phone? Why are parents doing this? Parents are busy. They sometimes don't know these things. Try telling a parent today that your kid can't have a phone. Good luck. I mean, try it. You can do it. You can do it. You can say, no, you're not going to have a phone. But all of their friends have phones. No, you can't. You can have a flip phone, or I'll give you a phone in case you need to call me. Good luck with that. See, it's easier said than done. The point is, there are ways that a parent can be forearmed and forewarned. And there are different things you can do regarding routers that our friend Chris McKenna can explain. This is something that you've got to understand, okay? This is the problem.
But there's very simple techniques. I mean, there is something, colleagues of ours, called Gab, G-A-B-B, Gab Wireless. And that looks like an iPhone. It looks like, the watch. So your child has that device, because we have a lot of studies that say a child, and we're talking, again, there's parental autonomy. We can't tell you when to buy your child a phone or not. That's up to you. We can only provide safety suggestions, features, filters, a lot of free resources. But Gab Wireless, they look like they have an iPhone, but there's no internet capability. So they're able to text and call, and you help them pre-program. And they don't feel left out, because these 12 and 13-year-olds, there are a lot of studies, it does more harm than good. So that is up to you. There's also, protectyoungeyes.com. You can learn where every single app, how to enact a safety feature or filter. And all of this is free. So you go to protectyoungeyes.com and linswarriors.org. So we're just trying to sound the alarm. We are trying to help you in this overwhelming digital environment. And the fact people don't understand this is what is incredible.
How are their kids like 3 years old, 4 years old?
Well, that's ridiculous, but that's my personal opinion. No 3 or 4-year-old should be given a device. And even if they are given a device, which I'm totally against with the Warriors, we believe it's 12 plus, but that's us. Where is the parent or adult watching the child? But again, that goes into that parental guardian autonomy. But people have to understand. Now, we do know the reality is people use these devices as babysitting, thing. How many restaurants have we been in where the kids are on the phones, the kids are playing games, the people say, here's an iPad to play with, and yet they're not watching. We've had many stories where the child is on an iPad. The mother goes into the kitchen, to start, she thinks they're watching a Disney movie or a TV show, Peppa Pig. These are actually examples. Mother walks away for 2 minutes. She comes back. The child is watching pornography. It is that easy. They are infiltrating. There is a war on for our children in the United States and also around the globe. I wish people would really wake up and take notice. It has to start in your home, the protection. And it's not happening, and it's got to start happening.
And the best thing is for parents to be aware of it.
Right.
Rather than sit back and say, well, that's like some people say it's true. Kids can't even read. I'm not asking.
That's a separate issue.
I'm not asking you whether you agree with this or not. See, this is what people do. Well, I'm not asking you.
They're entitled to their opinions.
No, but I'm saying, but this is again the point's being missed. We're not saying whether kids should, whether it makes sense, whether you would do it. We're not saying that. The point is, parents have to be aware of this. They know exactly what's happening with this. This is one of those things where, you got to ask yourself sometimes, how did it get like this? I don't know why.
But also something parents are always asking us at the Warriors, what do I do? Well, start with your 15, 30 minutes a day of taking devices away as a suggestion we make, and handing your child a book, not to read online, an actual book with a cover and pages. Hand them a book and start weaning them off of the devices. There's so many little tricks we can start doing, yet there's a lot of resistance. And that, again, is what I don't understand.
And also, you have to take it upon yourself to learn about this, to take the phone and look at it and read. I cannot tell you how many times I see it from people who say, what does that word mean? What does this mean? I'm thinking all you have to do is look it up. If you wanted to spend 5 minutes to say, how can I make my phone safe? What are some of the pitfalls? What are some of the problems? What are some of the dangers? That's on the internet, but nobody researches. And one of the reasons why is we don't even know how to. We're not autodidacts. We don't know how to learn anything. And you yourself can do it by going to Lynn's Warriors, of course, but also taking it upon yourself and not just sitting back and bitching and moaning and saying, gee, this is terrible. This is the woke society. No. Learn about this. If you have kids. If you don't have kids, great. Don't worry about it. It's too late or whatever it is. This is the part where there's no proactive anything. There is.
I know, when people are proactive, when something happens to their child, then they're flooding the Warriors. What can I do? Where do I go? How do I get help? So before we get to that point, why not learn, educate yourselves? All this free advice, why not intervene to prevent? Because face it, it's growing. It's escalating.
Here's one. It's the parents, children having children. Great. We're not talking about that. You're right. You're right about that. That is a problem. But that's not going to fix anything by saying, well, there you go. There you go. You see what I mean? Do you see? This is, and I guess I want people to say, okay, we'll do that. Let's tell parents this, as opposed to, well, there you go. There you go.
But it's also about, family digital partnerships, because you can have, for instance, over the holidays we just celebrated, you can have your child go to a relative's house. So it's kind of a full circle of educating your child to come to you about anything, or educating, the aunt or the uncle as well. We have to be, in 2024, you said proactive. We must. This is a new society, a new world. We're going into AI. We're here. You better get used to all this. You better take it into your own hands and start learning about all of this, because none of this digital stuff is going away. It's getting worse. But I don't want to give up the internet. I know you don't either. Look how wonderful. Look at all the great stuff there is on the internet. So, I don't know what people are saying. I really don't care what people are saying. I'm here to sound the alarm. I'm here to help you.
70% of parents are high as kites on booze and drugs. 70%.
Well, where did that 70%? I'd like to see this study. I always back everything up with the Warriors with some studies, some facts.
What the hell does that have? 70%. I mean, I
could be. I don't know, but we're always based on facts and studies and things like that. And I'm just sounding the alarm today about the journal app that nobody seems to know about.
We always love to point to things. For example, obesity rates in kids. When we were kids, we used to ride bikes. It's like, who cares about this? What are you talking about? Well, the kids, you can't take care of kids when you are stoned. I think that is correct. Where did this come from? Gina's onto something here. You can't raise kids if you're strung out on H. True. Heroin and parents don't. Where is that? Where is this? Anyway.
Well,
that's all we wanted to tell you, was just to let you know about that.
Yeah.
It also goes to show you about critical thinking as well with this. See, I'm just glad we don't have kids right now. I don't know what I would do. I don't know one thing I would do. I swear to God, I would be telling kids, let me tell you what these people do. They want you to take pictures of yourself nude. There's perverts out there. People who want to touch you. People who want to lure you. I would tell them.
But then you would add, but then they want to threaten you, and they're going to come and kill your dog and kill your sister.
Sextortion.
And tell your parents.
Yes.
So we have a rash of teenage boys killing themselves over this scenario, as opposed to going to mom and dad and saying, look at this creep online, what they're saying. And we want parents to say, okay, we'll take care of it. We don't care. You sent the nude image. We're not saying that's the right thing to do. It's been done. Do you know the next steps? Because that's a crime then. You're not going to get in trouble. Do you know to go to cybertipline.org? Do you know to call 911 immediately? No. Why are people fighting this? Getting back to that marijuana, that's another thing we're not talking enough about. Marijuana, 70%, if that's what you're saying, whatever. Why aren't you then being that warrior to rally against all these marijuana laws? And I'll tell you why. And then people fight me on this every day, because marijuana today is being laced with fentanyl coming over our borders. I can't tell you how much we learn with our work with the border agents, with 911.com, from China, being distributed by the Mexican cartels. And they are cutting the pills, they are cutting the marijuana. And that is why we have an American dying every 3 minutes from fentanyl. So if you want to talk about marijuana, let's talk about it. Let's get into that, because it's not just marijuana. It is now a high percentage of it being cut with fentanyl. And that is a poison. That is not a drug, fentanyl. People need to know this. Fentanyl is a poison.
And also, the weed that people are smoking today ain't the weed that people thought about in the 70s and the 60s. This is something which is completely different. How about this one particular case we know of, some kid who was a little bit, little shingad to begin with, who basically started vaping on the stuff and then went straight to the emergency room and hasn't been the same since. This is not an exaggeration.
There's a lot of stories of this psychotic break from smoking this marijuana. I do want to commend everybody. Go to my YouTube channel, Lynn's Warriors. Look at my recent discussion with Derek Maltz. I point this out because look at the body of work, the background, the career of Derek Maltz, okay, in the DEA. Look at what he says and shares with me what's going on today, okay? And let me just say, I had a couple of idiots write to me and I sound like you now, but I can't help it, and tell me how dare I put up this stupid man talking about marijuana. He's completely wrong. He's completely right, okay? Because these kids having psychotic breaks, especially
that's the link
at 15, 16, 17 seems to be these prime ages. They're not coming back. They're wrecked for the rest of their lives. This is what we're seeing. And I also want you to go to my Twitter if you want. Dead on Arrival, a 21-minute film about fentanyl. Again, it's a poison. It's not a drug. Again, being cut into everything, into the marijuana, into what kids are doing with 2 clicks on Snapchat, buying pills, having them delivered to their front and back doors, or picking them up on a corner from a guy on a bicycle. If you don't think this is the real war going on right now, I can't help you. I just can't help you.
Well, it goes to show you yet again. And also
why people wouldn't want to be out in the streets screaming about this, educating at least themselves about it, getting together maybe with families and friends. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, another thing too is tonight's subject was, people don't understand. Again.
Oh, hold your nose.
Yeah, of course.
Well, let me just add something to that. I mentioned it the other day, but I want to mention it again. I wish one issue, whether it's Donald Trump, I'll have to say it. I wish he would just go all in on this border. Now he mentioned a few things today, but that would be the subject. That would be the topic, because I want to remind everybody that is like the big wheel with a lot of spokes, where the crime is coming from, the illegal aliens are coming from, where our national security threat is coming from right now, where the fentanyl is coming from, where all of this is happening, yet nobody has done it yet. None of these candidates, okay? If they went to that one issue of the border right now, we could get a lot of mileage, and I'm waiting for somebody to do it.
Well, look, I said this before and I'll say it again, that Trump is the chemotherapy to the cancer called Biden. And a lot of people may not like him. We hear this all the time. I don't like the way he tweets. I don't like the way E. Jean Carroll. Shut up, hold your nose, and vote for him. He may not be perfect. Who else are you going to vote for? Who? Nikki Haley? Have you heard anybody suggest, any Democrat? Joe Biden's not going to be look, this has nothing to do with Trump. If there was somebody better than Trump, great. I'm all for it. But there isn't. That's the way it goes. There isn't. I'm sorry. Get over it. And by the way, tell folks what Trump did regarding child trafficking and human trafficking. Tell people what he did. You know this firsthand.
Well, you just have to ask yourself, and I know you've all probably heard this, were we better off 4 or 5 years ago? Yes, we were. The Trump administration absolutely focused on human trafficking in the White House. Donald Trump gave monies, gave resources to groups and organizations, individuals who were never, ever given monies before to further their work, to further their law enforcement, okay? That was never discussed. That was never talked about. Tremendous strides were made. And Joe Biden on day one, that squatter in the White House, that current, I don't even want to say current occupant, because I personally don't believe he's there most of the time, okay? He undid it. Remember, he had that big pile of all those executive orders? Day one. Now, why on day one would he go in when people were finally being helped? We were intervening, we were preventing, educating. Money's just to raise awareness, go into schools and teach kids what's going on, digital safety, day one, he undid it. Why? Why? So this is, hold your nose and vote for Trump.
Because they're a bunch of preverts, the whole group of them. It's that simple. So that's why if you don't like Trump, I don't care. Hold your nose and vote for him. So he's not perfect. This is the thing. Seriously, who else?
I don't hear Nikki Haley talking about women's issues, talking about children's issues, talking about digital safety. She doesn't want to hear from it. She doesn't want to know. She's just the favorite of CNN and MSDNC right now. They're promoting her and she's disrupting everything. She won't take on these issues. She won't talk about these issues. So what do we have? Hold your nose and vote for Trump.
Now,
that's it.
Remember, again, this is the aspect about this, and I'm sorry, but if you're going to vote for him, terrific. I keep telling people the most important thing in the world, the most important issue, the most important critical thing to do is to understand that we may like him, you may like him. That's not what we're talking about. It's the people who are independent, undecided, those who might say, well, I'm not really sure. Who is going out to try to lure these people? Anybody? No. This is the part I don't understand. If you're going to vote for Trump, great. I don't need you. If you're going to vote against him, fine. I don't need you. But what about that individual who's thinking, and I still think African Americans, Latinos,
untapped,
gays,
nobody's going
sitting
for that
there.
Market. Nobody's going for that market.
They ignore them. They just ignore this group of people who would be absolute. By the way, before I forget, let me say a couple of things here. And this is critical. You know what's happening February the 3rd at the Cutting Room?
I'll be there.
You're going to be there. And we've got our cards. We've got our pencils. This is a chance where
you mean for the Q&A?
For the Q&A.
Just clarify that. Yes, we're going to have a Q&A. We want to hear from you. What are your questions? We'll share information. You'll be sharing information.
This is like
and community, so people can talk to each other in.
This is like nothing. Nobody's. I'm serious. This is, and by the way, this is the link right there. That's for that one. This is critical stuff. I mean, critical stuff for people to understand and to grasp this notion of the fact that. See, I find the whole notion of politics entertaining, not a bunch of jokes, but it's very serious. In fact, some of the time it seems incredibly funny, so to speak. But anyway, in any event,
I just want to, before I forget,
please.
We're going to talk about this border that I don't want to say I'm fixated, but I really do believe this one issue. If Donald Trump would take it on, or Nikki Haley, today, a very disturbing video that was sent to me. Then I started seeing it online of this boat coming La Jolla, California. Beautiful, beautiful town. Just coming up. About 20 of these illegal aliens, criminals. Remember, they're breaking into our country. We want people to come here legally and safely, and running between these beautiful homes, just running up the streets. It's kind of on a hill in the Pacific Ocean and all that, and just taking off. Now, we know we're starting to see tremendous crimes in neighborhoods. It's coming to your town. Where are these people going in La Jolla? It's kind of a secluded area, enclave out in San Diego, and they're just running. Where are they going?
Somebody's absorbing them.
Locking your door, lock your doors, protect your children. I'm not being an alarmist. This is coming to your town. I see it. I hear it. There's no stopping in sight. This has to be shut down.
And don't give me this bullshit, pardon my French, about migrants. They're migrants. They're illegals. They're burglary. They're sovereignty burglary. They're trespassers. They're breaching our jurisdiction. Tell them what you see here. Women, and it's so sad, women on blankets with kids. And
I never thought in all my years in New York City that I would see women and what appear to be teenage girls, I don't know though, sitting on blankets on sidewalks or huddling with children, begging for money, holding babies out, which is what I saw and I'm still haunted by on Christmas Eve, walking on 6th Avenue, 10 o'clock in the morning, holding a baby up in the air, saying, we're hungry as people pass by. People with signs written in Spanish. These children, some of them seem of school age. They're not even in the schools. And this is allowed? and people just walking past them. So forget whatever you think of these illegal aliens. They're here, they're dumped. What are they going to turn to? They're going to turn to crime if they're hungry, right? They're going to turn to anything to feed their child. Somebody better get a hold of this. I do know 25 governors today signed on to support Texas. And what can you imagine? Texas has to fight so hard.
And
to
this
protect,
started with the
but
Biden administration.
but I want
even Obama wasn't that. Did this happen during Obama?
a
I know
little bit.
there was
Never any to this extent, but I want to
No.
I want to remind everybody. We talk about Texas a lot in Arizona with the border. I just told you about La Jolla, California, coming in boats. We have borders all over. We have Canada. Okay. We have borders all over. It is not just Texas and Arizona. We've got a lot happening. Everything's a border. And they're coming by the boatloads. Didn't it look very organized? That video I sent to you? They have nice clothes on, relatively nice backpacks. They don't appear to be like all drenched in waters and all. They're just maybe came in a big boat somewhere a little bit out there, picked them up in this kind of small motorboat, brought them up to the beach, and they just got out and ran up between the mansions, and that's it. And this is allowed? No.
It's an incredible. By the way, stand by for a second, dear friends, because I want to talk to you about something which is important, because we have some very important words from our great, great sponsors. One, of course, is our dear friends from MyPillow.com. All right, my friend, it's time to hail and salute our great friends at MyPillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. I know a free gift. It's a tautology, so sue me. But listen carefully. What are we talking about? Giza Dream Bed Sheets, My Pillow 2.0, sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. Think about it. And they're monster sellers right now. Listen to me. Slippers. My slippers. Think about it. What do they do with My Pillow? They make things real soft and plush and comfy. How perfect. And when they apply that genius to slippers, look out. Look out. Look at the specials right now, but only if you use promo code Lionel. So go to mypillow.com/Lionel. Solid this or very dual. mypillow.com/Lionel or call 800-645-4965. Call right now and watch how fast Mike answers the phone. mypillow.com, the best. Now, my friends, I wonder, and I'm still trying to figure out what is it that Democrats are voting for, and I'm still trying to figure out. Who it do you.
Well, they don't even campaign, so they have no agenda. They're just assuming, or they're
tell us about that
taking over. They're just
tell me about that 50-year-old man who identifies as a 15-year-old girl. Listen to this.
A 50-year-old college professor is identifying as a 15-year-old girl so that he can be on, I believe it's the swim team or something. But he wants to be able to shower in their locker room, and it's being allowed. So these are stories. I don't really focus on these stories. They're just, there's another one, something about a rowing, and a man is taking over rowing. We've had the golf one recently. Why aren't people screaming more about, and there are, but not
Who's
enough.
advocating? Who wants this?
Nobody I know across the country, I am telling you.
Did you ever
really
hear
wants
this before? Did you ever hear people saying we've got to do something about
But
got to get
where are
mail?
those Republicans in the House? Where is
Worthless.
Congress? They are equally at fault to the Democrats right now in not representing the people of the United States, and not protecting us in the United States, and not protecting our children.
Tell me one thing your Jim Jordan does, and your Josh Hawley, and your Ted Cruz, and your John Kennedy. What did these people do? They're worthless. The whole group.
But that is why we have to take more of it into our own hands. Now, that being said, I will be in Washington on February 6th talking in front of members of the Senate, in front of the DOJ and FBI. I'm going to have to, you might have to come with me so you can control me a little bit. I might be out of control because I was met last year, a year ago, invited, and it's an honor to be invited, I guess, but I speak truth, and I'm not a slave to taking any government monies or any of that type of thing. And everything I say is backed by facts and truths, but I am met with blank stares. And that is why I constantly say with the Warriors, while I do that and will continue, because I believe it's my duty to just get my face in front of people, you need at home to protect your own and your kids and know these issues and stand up for families and spread the information in your communities. This is not a joke. This is so troublesome.
And if only they cared as much about kids and people as they do Hunter Biden's laptop and the laptop from hell.
Well, who's still talking about that? Because I that went nowhere. Are there people still talking about that?
I guess. What about your boyfriend Matt Gaetz? Did you hear what's going on with him today? I told you.
Let me ask you a question about this Peter Navarro. So he gets 4 months. Hunter Biden gets nothing.
Nothing.
What, are people screaming Peter Navarro? Is anybody mentioning it? I don't watch mainstream media anymore.
Hunter Biden went like this, shows up and says, I'm not even going to testify. Peter Navarro gets it. I don't get it. Bannon, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know how about somebody got 6 years there for something about this January 6th, that nonsense. All I know is the Republican Party, think about this. What are we talking about? What is Nikki Haley? What are the issues? Seriously, what's the difference between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump? What? She's got heels. What the hell does that mean?
Who said that?
Her whole thing is that she's a woman.
That was Carrie Lake's thing.
No,
Trump
Nikki Haley.
Nikki
Haley. Carrie Lake, by the way, where did that recording come from? Who recorded that? Where she says, "Wait, how much will it take for you to stay out of the how much? How much?" Where did that? Who was recording?
I mean, I have my own thoughts, but I'm not sharing them.
No, but somebody's recording it, and it sounded like a damn good one. I don't get it.
I don't know. Is it a work, as I like to say? Perhaps. I don't know, but people better start waking up. This is not even America of a year ago, what is happening right now. This is part of this globalist absorption, horrific. Adults and children will be as one. We have to get back to taking care of our kids, helping them read, mathematics, eye contact, shaking a hand, family, strong families. We have to get back to that. They are our future adults. And you brought up about the Black community, and I work a lot with the Black community in trafficking. Nobody helps them. Nobody talks about them. Nobody is getting in and doing anything for them. These are the issues we should be talking about. So today I wanted to talk about Journal and warn everybody there is another app that you don't even have to want. They just give it to you now. And that's going to happen. They're just going to keep filling our phones with these apps. And, we already know what the studies about the algorithms and things like that, direct it at the children. We just want to make people aware. I want to make people aware. So if one of you out there listens to me, if one of you talks to your child, I've done my job for today, because that's what I do.
They said that he talked to her at her door. It was her doorbell. Her doorbell recorded this. Is that it?
Why did she wait so long to release it? When is this from?
Or Daily Mail? Who knows?
I'm not that interested.
And by the way,
does this story do anything for us? The man resigned.
Is it really illegal? I mean, is it really illegal? They do it all the time.
They do it all the time. Step aside, or right?
Did she move into Mar-a-Lago for a while, or something? Was there somebody else? I don't know what the hell's going on. She bores me to death. She bores me. Matt Gaetz, Margerie Taylor Greene. Where are the big stars? Who are your stars? Where? Who?
We don't have any. There are none. There are none. Just when I think people in Congress, I'll leave names out for now, are making strides, they only go so far, and then they're on to the next thing. They do not complete the mission. I will remind everybody, the 118th Congress that just resumed, 6 bipartisan child safety bills right now, going nowhere for the last 3-4 years. The last bill we had was 1998, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act that was enacted then in, let's see, it was enacted then in 2000. We have not had any updates about the internet or online or information about kids. It's 24 years. That tells you everything, doesn't it?
I don't want to talk about some other aspects too, but there is something that is going to be so huge regarding Israel, Palestine, and where we're going with this. And Bobby Kennedy, where'd this guy go? Remember Bobby Kennedy? Where's he?
He's actually doing an event with Shmuley around the corner from here at the Glass House, because they keep sending me email invitations. They're going to be talking about all of this.
What does this have to
I think
do
it's tonight, actually, but I don't.
I hate to say this. What about America? What about America? I don't understand what's going on. When was the last time, this is me talking, when was the last time somebody from France ever got bounced from their university or their college because they said something bad about the United States? What the hell's going on here? What happened with the First Amendment right? I don't understand any of this stuff. I swear to God, I don't understand anything. This is going to be a huge, and Trump is not going to be, listen, Trump is not going to do anything different from anything that's going on right now. When it comes to the Middle East, Trump is as much of a neocon, with the exception a little bit maybe of Ukraine and NATO. That's a different story. But he's the same. He's the same.
But I sure hope he's got people around him. Should he be, back in Washington, and I'm going to say, should he be? It's not a done deal.
There's a war mentality.
Who are the people working in his administration that will be helping him?
What is he doing to talk about the ravages of globalism and Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and the Bilderbergs and everybody else? Nobody ever talks about that. And they're going to come up with there's going to be another COVID X. There's going to be some X strain, and we're going to fall into the same nonsense with the same masks and the same boosters and the same, contact tracing and 6-foot stickers on the ground. It's the same stuff. Nothing's going to change. We didn't learn anything from last time. Don't think for 1 minute just because all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, I've got myocarditis. Don't believe me. And you know who's going to give in? Americans, because Americans love that stuff. There were some people that I know who they were still walking around with their goddamn masks on. Have you seen these people that walk around with the mask underneath their mouth? It's like, what is it? Your throat? There are people who love this. In the event this happens again, it's these trained lemmings, these dogs, these poodles that were trained because they love fear and they love subjugation, and they're standing by. We didn't learn anything. Fauci got off without nothing.
Well, let me just throw a little wrench in here. I think a lot of people, they're looking at all of these medical studies coming out and all of these people that died suddenly. I'm not saying it's the vaccine. There's just a lot of things going on. A lot of people we know had different strokes or heart attacks, a lot of ailments, a lot of young people dropping dead. I think a lot of people did learn. But remember what they did to everybody. If you wouldn't wear the mask, or you didn't have the vaccine, or you lost your livelihood, you lost your job. This is what they did to people. So there's that fear. So how do we get around that? Because that's what I believe more people are much more awake about this, much more, they know about the vaccine. Okay. They doubt it, whatever the beliefs are. How are we going to deal with this the next time?
What do you do when
I believe more people will fight back, but look what they do.
So.
They will fight back.
What do you do when you still see people with a mask on? Don't you get this rage? It's like, take that thing off. Why are people still walking around with a mask on? It doesn't do anything. They've already said this. Even Fauci said this. What is this?
No, whatever. If they want to wear a mask, I see people in New York.
I don't want them to be arrested, but it's like, what kind of a moron walks around with a mask, especially when they have them under their nose? That's the best part. What is it? This warmth? Is it like a baby who was swaddling? What kind of moron?
I actually think a lot of people, what's interesting though? All these criminals, they're always wearing that mask.
Well,
constantly. All these protesters I think that should be banned. Actually, there is a law which they undid during COVID. I'll leave that for another program. They're always masking up, that gang. I actually think a lot of people like to hide behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm not kidding. I think they hide behind the mask. They don't want to show their faces or something. Because I wonder why, when it's 10 degrees below zero here in New York City with the wind, why are you wearing a mask on your face? Are you trying to keep warm? Or
How about people who wear a
I don't
mask in
know.
their car by themselves, in their own car?
I
They
don't.
should be pulled out and sent to a medical
The
hospital.
mask is the least of our problems right now. We are facing this election, this predation on children, destruction of families. This is what we need to all get on board with.
When is tattooing going to stop? When will it come to an end? When will people
Speaking
say?
of tattooing, let me share another fact. There is a Venezuelan sex trafficking ring that has now, through the cartels on the borders, is now operating in the United States, and they tattoo all of the girls on their necks, the hairline. They're even doing the front of their necks now, and they are now also trafficking American girls. I mean, these are the issues I want people to know about, because I'm not talking about just the big cities. They're coming to Ohio. They're coming to West Virginia. They're coming to wherever there is vulnerability.
Dark Dragonov says, what is your view on the objective human morality? What the hell is that?
That's another program.
What's your view on objective human morality?
I'm actually not sure what that means.
Is that a term? Let me look this up. Objective human, is this a term? Is that something I should know about? Objective morality refers to belief that moral principles and values are universally true and exist independently of individual opinions. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you believe that there is something called morality anymore? Do you believe that people have morality is what you do when nobody's looking?
This reminds me of this lecture we were listening to in the car. It's it's a very kind of
it was a Lex Friedman. It was about kind of spirituality, about belief versus realism.
I mean, this is a loaded one. You know what I mean? This is kind of a look. I don't even know what to say about all that, except I just see the predation every day and the escalation and getting worse for children and for all people, but children in particular. And I just see nobody doing anything about it.
I know that climate change is a big concern for.
You don't hear a lot about that these days, do you?
I think that's running its course. Where's Greta Thunberg? She ran her. She makes her. She's the Zelensky of
I
this.
Know. She looks. She's older now. She's not the cute kid.
How dare you?
She's not.
I could be in school.
She's not the cute kid with the braids and the hat.
Cute kid. She was like this.
I'm just saying. Remember, she had the little braids and the hat, and she was 11 years old.
You took my life. How dare you? Remember that? It's like, who in the hell is this?
Well, we're beyond that. Don't you feel like that was years ago? That whole time period. Like, we are really in something right now.
How about some good stuff? What are you watching on TV or cable? Not cable.
That's a real
that's a real streaming. Well, but I'm saying there's some great stuff on some of the stuff that we're watching that's good. Laughing Woman or Funny Woman or this.
It's called Funny Woman. It's a British series. So I've just started that.
There's a lot of good stuff.
That's interesting. I just it's not out yet. Coming at the end of the month. I'm curious about that Truman Capote Swans.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
After doing this kind of work that we do,
Babe Paley, CZ Guest. Oh yeah. Oh, I think that was.
And also sort of being at the tail end of being a New Yorker and reading about them, or perhaps even seeing them on the streets, even going back late 70s, 80s. I want to see all of that. There's a series about Dior, Chanel, Dior. I want to see that. Maybe I'm going back a little bit, reliving the New York that I envisioned as a child and then, witnessed and experienced as a teen and then as a young person. I'm seeking that. I look at a lot of, what I enjoy? I look at a lot of these pictures on Instagram now. They come to me, New York in the 50s, New York in the 60s. And I look at how well dressed everybody on the streets, even the 70s, everybody's looking good to me, and even the 80s, And I say to
Because
myself,
we're a
wow,
bunch of slobs, pigs. We're a bunch of ne'er-do-wells, reprobates. We're a bunch of classless dweebs, twits, people just
not
profligate.
everyone.
More than you would realize. More than you would realize.
I'm staying positive, and I have
Well,
hope.
anyway,
I have hope for 2024.
Isn't she great? So listen,
Journal app.
pay attention to this. Thank you, sweetheart.
Pay attention to your phones with your children. That's
And
all
don't forget,
I ask.
follow her, Mrs. L. Follow her. Oh, and also, by the way, at the 3rd, February 3rd at the cutting room, we're going to be there. She'll be there. We'll be there saying hi to you. Thank you all for all that you've done. Pay attention. Remember, keep asking questions. Stand up. And I don't care if you don't like Trump. Just do me a favor. Shut up, hold your nose, and vote for him. He's the only. There is no other choice. There is no. I'm sorry. It's true. There is no other choice. We'll see you tomorrow, kids. 8 a.m. And don't forget this. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.
Good night.
Ta-ta.